So, okay, we're live. Well, good afternoon. Good morning, Bill. Good afternoon, Chris. We're going to do something slightly different with our drop in today and asking questions. Anybody that's listening, whether you're listening from our YouTube channel, Facebook, or either of the LinkedIn channels that we've got, feel free to ask questions in the comments. Post anything that you've got in the comments, either about our discussion, or if you've got any questions that you'd like us to have a think about and address in terms of starting a business. We'd really welcome those sorts of questions. The way to do it is whichever platform you're on, whether it's, let's say it's YouTube or LinkedIn, in the comments section. If you put a comment, we'll be able to see it in this live stream. So that's the way it works on the live stream. Anyway, Bill, Chris, so we've reached a stage now where we've been using these live streams to create content and video content that we've been posting primarily on the 12 Ronnies YouTube channel, where there's lots of snippets in the shorts or 1 minute shorts about our conversations. It could be a conversation we've had about a particular aspect of idea validation or founding teams or investment. And we've got longer videos where it's been split up into sort of longer versions of the questions, as well as the full Q&A. And all of that's sitting in our lives, in our YouTube channels now, and we're slowly disseminating it out onto the various platforms. But one of the things that we originally set this up to do was to answer people's questions, to look at, to have founders saying, well, I'm really stuck here. I'm starting an e-commerce business and I'm struggling to get my first customers. Or what's the best way of finding a co-founder? Do I actually need a co-founder? And they're the sorts of questions that we're looking for in starting a business. So in many ways, we want to come back to that fundamental, and in future weeks, invite people in to ask questions. And Chris, you came up with a really good idea about actually getting some people to ask questions on our actual live stream by inviting them into the studio.
Well, it's just an idea. If people think it's something they'd like to do and feel brave enough, we have a number of seats in this studio environment. I think we can have up to 6 people. So if you think it's a good idea, we can share the link so that if you've got a question to ask us, you can hop into the studio by clicking on that link and then ask us the question in person. Alternatively, you can just simply put the question in the chat, and we can manage the number of people in the studio at our end by bringing people on and off accordingly.
That's a good idea, Chris. It gives people the option to ask questions in a chat or jump in and actually have a conversation. Which we'd probably welcome more in many ways. It's nice to have a back and forth conversation with somebody. It's a people business after all. And I also wanted to bring you into this, Bill. You right from the start, you've been very kind in donating your time to these live calls, and I'm wondering if there's a trick we're missing at all in getting people to engage in our live streams, in our Q&As, in questions about starting a business.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that entrepreneurs need the most is support. They need to understand what they don't know. So I think it can be hard sometimes for people to connect with something like this because maybe they don't know what they need. But I think the most important thing, the message for us to those entrepreneurs out there, is that they should come to as many of these kind of things as possible, because you don't know what you're going to learn, and every day is going to be different. And you might learn something that you didn't know that you needed to learn, and it might create a great opportunity for you. So getting involved, this is just another way for entrepreneurs to get involved in the entrepreneurial community, because the pie gets bigger when you do that. You think about all the skills it takes to run a big company, accounting and sales and human resources and all this other stuff. And you think about the solopreneur trying to do all these things for themselves. It's daunting. So environments like these help to focus in on what are those most important things you have to be really good at now. And then at what point do we need to fold other people in? Do we need to do these things to protect the integrity and the future of what it is you're trying to do?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. I've always wondered in these calls, because we do what you've described there. We do at 12 Ronnies. We have a community platform where we have experts and mentors and coaches to answer questions in an environment, and it's free. I always play with the idea, should we be promoting that more in these live calls, or should we concentrate on the content at the time? And it's a balance in a way, because we're not really selling anything when we're selling something that's free in terms of our community, but it feels like if you keep giving something a plug, you're trying to sell something.
Yeah, I think this is all about having a place to go and then the reason to be there. So maybe what we can do is just promote a little bit more. Hey, these are the kind of things we talk about. If you are at these stages, if you are struggling with these problems, this is the kind of place you need to go. And really, it's a give and take. Whether it's us or the people that come. One of the old sayings is sometimes you need the meeting, and sometimes the meeting needs you. So come and either inspire or be inspired. Yeah, I think that'd be great if we can go towards that, because then we're truly creating community.
And backing that, we just had a post on LinkedIn that said, personally, I'm not looking for anything in particular when I watch Listen, but every time I do, I learn something that's helpful. And I guess that's really our objective of what we're trying to do with all of this. Mm-hmm. And Chris, you ran a live stream. You ran a live stream yesterday, a slightly different one, a slightly different version of it. Maybe you could talk us through how you ran that and what you learned from that, and something that we could share with the audience.
Well, that was more of a back and forwards chat about the passion of somebody that I met in a networking environment. So I met this lady called Anna Goodwin from a company called Heart Centered Business, and we got on. So I invited her to take part in the first of my own live streams that I'm setting up through 12 Ronnies. And I said to her, what would you like to talk about? And she suggested, well, what we do is we help people get their first clients. So why don't we do, a session on how to get your first 5 clients? And so we just had an organic conversation about that. And there was a book behind what her company does. So she had an opportunity at the end to mention the book. So that there is maybe in that particular style of session, it's a different kind of meeting to just invite people on to chat about what they do. I mean, I think you've done that in the past. You invited a guy on from the legal guy, didn't you?
Yeah, Seed Legals and Anthony Rose, and yeah. we discussed investment and documentation for investment, and but part of that was to generate content to share out, whereas yours was very much to stimulate discussion in the live stream when you ran it yesterday.
Well, I think yes, that's true, but I'm still creating content at the same time, and maybe that's less of a priority. But I'll still be editing clips to put out there on the internet, because people will find the clips of the conversation around certain topics. They'll still find that useful.
And Chris, I apologize. I missed it yesterday. I was signed up and I got hijacked at the last minute. I look forward to seeing the recording. I assume there is one.
Oh yeah. And if you go to the link that's at LinkedIn for the event, then StreamYard's very clever. It automatically uploads a recording.
Well, and here's why I signed up for it. It was the title, how to get 5 customers. Getting customers is always a hassle. you know,
Yes.
I run a number of side businesses, and I'm always trying to figure out new ways to get customers. So I was very attracted to that title
Yes.
because there's kind of a clear call to action. It's like, hey, at the end of this session, I'm going to have maybe some new tactics in how to get customers. So I
Yes.
think that was very important for me, at least, Simon. Is
Well,
your, you know,
yeah,
is your
and the first couple of customers are your most important customers, aren't they? Because they're the most difficult to get. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And very much so, as Bill, you point out very wisely that a startup is a learning organization. You know, there's many variations of that. It's something that's trying to find and execute a business model.
Exactly.
You know, it's not a fully functional company as such. It's still trying to discover product market fit, which is what companies have.
Yeah, until you fill in all the boxes, you don't have a company yet. You know, I'm talking about the boxes on the business model canvas or the lean canvas. You know, you until you can solve all those problems, you're not there, and you don't have a company. So you know, the question of how do I get those customers? Because until I have customers, I also can't learn. You know, until someone gives me money or time or some sort of currency in exchange for my value proposition, I can't learn enough yet to become a company. So that's again why, you know, why Chris's why his seminar really attracted me when I saw it.
Yeah, and
I think it links into the question that you brought onto the screen, Simon.
Yeah. Go on, Chris. You take.
Oh no, it was just that I when I was inviting people to come to the webinar yesterday, the title of the webinar was guessing your first 5 customers or getting your first 5 clients. So you know, addressing the point that our guest has made in the question, they, you know, people who came yesterday knew exactly what the content of the webinar was going to be about. Whereas perhaps we've not been quite so transparent with these sessions, even though we've known between the 3 of us what we were going to talk about. Maybe we need to put a title for each of the webinars so that people know what it is that we're going to be talking about.
And it would be really good to get some feedback about what sessions people would like us to talk about. We can do that if anybody's both listening now, but if you're watching either a clip or the full video, if you type it in the comments anyway against either of those, it'll flag up to us. So these questions and your comments aren't lost afterwards. They're things that we get automatically notified of anyway. So it would be useful for us to understand what sort of sessions you'd like from us, because otherwise we're just making assumptions. We're saying, well, we think you'd be interested in this, but we'd really like to chat about what an audience is interested in.
Yeah, I'll throw out a few. I mean, building your first prototype, managing finances when you're bootstrapping. You know, very specific, you know, problems that we know people are having, and then, like you said, please let us know, because you are our customers. You know, we want to drive value to you. So, you know, just give us a name of a title. That'd be a great thing. You know, those titles also kind of tell us a little bit about what it is you're looking for. You know, how to find your co-founder, or how to, you know, in like Chris's, how to find your first 5 customers. Those are powerful concepts that people you know need, and they're feeling, you know, feeling that that's where my problem is, and this seminar will solve it for me.
And if we have these questions in advance, it gives us the opportunity to prepare for it and prepare some content, and not just think off the top of your head. So an example is I'm running next week. I'm running for we have a co-founder club at 12 Ronnies, where people are interested in being either a co-founder of a business or they're looking for co-founders, and it's essentially a matchmaking event. It's different than this. It's being run on Zoom and breakout rooms, and people looking to matchmake them. But I thought I'd do a little bit of preparation for that. And one of the things that came into my inbox, which a couple of weeks ago, was from a gentleman called Steve Blank, which many people will know from sort of a father of the lean startup movement. And he was pointing out how the business model canvas is a really good tool in the left hand side. There's 3 boxes on the left hand side for understanding what type of co-founder you need. And it was quite a unique aspect, because the right hand side's all about customers and the left hand side's a little bit more about the internal side to make the business model work. And so by doing a bit of preparation for that, I have something to share in this co-founder meeting, because I've had a chance to put an agenda together, and it would be quite nice if people do put some comments about what they'd like to see, and then we can do some prep.
Yes, I mean this particular Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning, session has been a general discussion about certain themes on the whole, but we can run. I mean, in the other streams that I do, I think it's quite good to keep a style and a tone to this Wednesday session, which has been very successful. But I can imagine on the Tuesday one that I run, I might have somebody, some startup guy coming and showing their products or talking about their products, or trying to pitch, or maybe have pitching competitions and things. So to be a bit more experimental on the Tuesday one, so that we're doing different sorts of things. Or it could be here, we could get funky and have a quiz or something and ask people questions and get people to put the answers in the comments or something. I don't know.
I'd love ideas like that. Quizzes, polls. We can run some live assessments. We've got some of the tools to do that. It would be useful to experiment with lots of different things to make it as interactive as possible. And one of the things I wanted to chat about as well is, how can we encourage people to invite other people, almost as an ambassador for these events, to bring along people that you think are gonna find this interesting. It's all about starting a business. And any thoughts on how we can almost create an ambassador or an influencer network to bring people to here?
Well, one obvious thing is simply to invite those kinds of people to the meetings. Because we are, I'm sure, on LinkedIn and elsewhere, we will be connected with those kinds of people. And it may be that people in the audience are connected with those sorts of people. Yeah. So he would find the content interesting and also might want to talk about it. But as well as that, the people in the audience themselves could feel as though they were being our ambassadors or maybe we could incentivize people to say, if you invite 3 people to come along, then 12 Ronnies could offer something.
Like maybe a free mentoring session or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
A free one-to-one mentoring session. Yeah, that's a great idea. Any thoughts on incentives would be really helpful. We want to build up an audience. The more people that we can help with questions about launching a business, really, the better for them, and that's really our mission in all of this.
And we could also have like a clinic session, couldn't we, where a bit like Julie and Bill had a few weeks ago, where those were young people who had specific questions, but you can imagine having advertising a clinic where people are actually at the point of launching something. Where people come up, show up with their actual products or their actual services, and have got real life questions to ask in a kind of clinic situation. That might be.
And I'm actually doing something live next month, just like that. People are coming in with their business ideas, and then we're kind of going through the process, figuring out where they are, and then if you're here, this is the next step you have to take. In trying to avoid some of those mistakes people make in getting things out of order. So. I'm looking forward to that, and those are fun sessions because they're very hands-on, and people are able to get the help they need at the moment they need it. So,
Yeah, and similarly, you could also have pitching sessions where somebody gets invited into the studio to pitch to us, and we could be like the sharks in the shark tank or the dragons in the den, couldn't we? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great comment here. Like a live ideas nest, which is
yeah,
a platform
exactly.
we run ideas.
Well, actually, that's a really good idea, because we could actually approach people in Ideas Nest to see whether
just
they
bring
want to do that,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
it kind of amortizes the effort, doesn't it? So
That's a
Yep.
great idea. And also, Ideas Nest has a number of private nests where there's a collection of groups of people that are part of either a sort of a university or
yes,
or another cohort, and they can present their ideas to a more general audience for some feedback, both from us as mentors, but also to feedback from an audience as well.
And they can invite their networks to come. If it was with the university, there, they could advertise that to people in the university in the entrepreneurial program.
And that could either be a public forum, or it could be, like we work with the Anglia Ruskin, for example, Simon. I mean, we could just invite them to have like a session like this for people at Anglia Ruskin or any other university.
Yeah, but it's more people listening in, and the challenges that most people have in starting a business are common challenges. It's rarely are they completely unique to a sector or a business.
Or it could another way of doing it might be that that somebody does a pitch, and then we invite everybody in the audience to give it some kind of score.
Yeah, I mean, look at this comment. This is brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
The applause meter. Just have an applause meter.
Yeah. Or we could. I'm sure we could get some kind of, I don't know, like a GIF or something, which kind of does the clapping or something like that.
And what's your thoughts on things like we've deliberately kept these to 30-minute sessions because they're bite-sized. It doesn't feel like too much of a commitment to people. Does this feel right? I know we can have other events that are longer, but what's your thoughts on the length of the session?
30 minutes feels pretty good.
Yeah, feels good to me as well. Most of the stuff that I get involved in and I run are hour-long ones, but this feels more comfortable as a regular event. Yep. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. And then, see, this is perfect. Bit of interactivity. I love it. Anything else you think we should chat about while we're thinking about the future of these sessions? And any ideas we can?
I mean, another obvious thing is, I think it's good that we have a fixed time on a fixed day for these things, but which is great. But is there an argument for, not everybody can come at that time on that particular day? So maybe, occasionally have an event or a separate event or a special event on a different day at maybe a Thursday at a similar time.
Well, like you did yesterday,
Chris. Like I did yesterday, yeah. So
you had a special event for, and really, this is the sort of thing because you run weekly drop-ins for your Wisdom of Coffee, which is a general sort of chat about these things.
That's an informal chat in a Zoom environment.
Yeah.
So it's a slightly different environment to this, but. I've done zero marketing for that, but I imagine that I'll be starting to ramp that up in terms of making people aware of it, because it's been going for 7 years and it's still going and it's every week.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that is a good opportunity, and the people who come, get a lot of value out of it. So I think these sorts of sessions, I mean, the experience of running these Wisdom of Coffee sessions. People do go away invigorated, feeling that they've got some new ideas. Maybe somebody's listened to them for the first time, maybe they're not so, they realize they're not as crazy as they thought they were. That kind of
You've got to be crazy to be an entrepreneur. You've got to be crazy.
So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty low key so far, but again, that's a different kind of event again, because it's very low pressure.
Also, Chris and Bill, this gets streamed on 3 platforms. It gets streamed on LinkedIn to some individual LinkedIn profiles, because it gets streamed to the 12 Ronnies Facebook and 12 Ronnies YouTube. And when we market it, we generally send it out, the invites, and market it to LinkedIn, and don't really do much promotion, because I'm not even sure how I would do the promotion on YouTube anyway, other than having the videos up there. But I'm just thinking how we inform people about which platform to go to, and I guess it's a marketing thing to think about. In my head, the YouTube channel, the 12 Ronnies YouTube channel, when during the live event you click on lives, an obvious one to go to, because you can immediately view all the other ones and all the snippets and the other information there in one go. Whereas going to LinkedIn, you have to look for.
Oh, Simon's that's never happened to us before.
I like his point about YouTube is more ubiquitous.
Yeah, picking up on what Simon was saying. I mean, the way to, because I'm connected to quite a few podcasts that I watch through YouTube, and the way YouTube works is that you subscribe, and then you click the bell, and then you like the videos. Okay. So that's how people get engagement, because if you like it, it gets picked up by the algorithm. If you subscribe, then you get to hear about, it shows up in your notifications. Simon's dropped out. And if you click the black bell, then you get notified every time a video goes live. So you get to know about when things are happening.
Once on YouTube, once I subscribed or I liked something, now when they show the short videos, I'll flip through those for a few minutes every day. And now these snippets here are showing up all the time. It's almost embarrassing. I mean, I'm not really here to look at myself, but it does work. I mean, it keeps feeding them to me. So that's the simple thing. It's just getting people to click that button. Then they'll start getting it fed to them.
Yeah, and I think the on all of these YouTube podcast type things, people are always saying, please like, subscribe, and share with other people. So there's a call to action on every video, and maybe we should start doing that, in terms of, because our content is going live at Facebook and YouTube, as well as LinkedIn. So I think that will be a good practice to start doing.
I agree.
I've got another question. Do we answer all the questions from all the channels? Well, the way StreamYard works, which is the software that we're using for these live streams, is that all the questions from all the platforms. Hi, Simon.
My internet dropped out.
Yeah. Well, that's
live
never
events.
Yeah.
Live events.
Yeah. I'm just explaining that all the questions from all the platforms get funneled into our studio space at StreamYard. So we see all the questions. We're not actually aware of where those. No, we are actually aware.
We can. You can see if you look on screen. I can show. Yeah. If I post one now, you can see that's a YouTube one.
Yeah, that's a YouTube one.
If I show this one, it's a Facebook.
Yes. And all of those questions pop up in our studios, so we can actually recognize where people are coming from and what they've asked as well. Yeah, I was just explaining, Simon. I don't want to recap too much because it will be in the.
Oh no, we're sort of pretty much out about half an hour anyway.
Essentially, what I was saying is that we need to publicise the fact that we're on all these different channels and say to people, please go and subscribe and share it with your friends, sort of thing.
Well, that's good.
And like it, like the videos,
Well, there's plenty for us to review from what we've discussed in this half an hour.
Yeah.
And one of the big things is to try and have next week, trying to get as many people to come on and ask questions as we can, and work out ways to publicize that. So and also to work out this sort of ambassador role and things like that we discussed about.
And start the process of starting to market it in a bit more systematic way.
Yeah.
So that we do get more of an audience, because essentially this StreamYard thing is unlimited audience.
Yes.
We're not limited by the number of seats for an event.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're at the end of our 30 minutes. We've had a good chat. This is more a chat that I guess we can review the video for, and everybody can review what we've talked about. If people do have any comments, that if they rewatch this or anything, as we've said, please, any ideas, please put them in the comments, and we'll try and implement some things for next week. So
brilliant.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And let's reconvene next week on the live stream. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.